Hey guys.
Hi, hey
Hey.
everyone. Thank you for tuning in tonight for Lessons Told, episode 8. Tonight we'll be talking about community and coven. And we started a little bit early because we have other things we got to do before the end time. So that's why we started early and we're sorry about that, but you can always tune in and watch later. So, Nico and Chris, we're here tonight to talk about community work in Coven. Both um, Chris and I has been in the community for 27 years doing pagan events. Nico has been in the community for several years now, doing helping with events too in the Nebraska area, and
Yep.
we both have a coven. So, we are here tonight to either answer some questions about community or covens and just kind of dive into community first.
Mhm.
Excuse me. So, with the community, you know, and Nick, you probably have witnessed this a lot that once you start an event, no one else wants to do an event. It's like they want you to do it. It's like, okay, they're
Mhm.
good at organizing, let them have it. Okay. Now, I, for 27 years, is like, okay, yeah, we will help out because you hate to say no.
Mhm.
Excuse. Now, what, now I know you haven't been doing events as long as we have, but you're getting your, I guess you could say your feet out there more,
Yep.
a lot more. Um, so, have you ever come across asking others, "Hey, you want to get an event started?" Or, "Hey," they would ask you to do an event, and you turn it around and says, "Well, how about you?" And they're like, Why do
Yep.
you think so many pagans, witches nowadays, don't want the responsibility of organizing an event?"
I think a lot of it is that they either don't think that they're capable of doing it, or they just flat out don't want the responsibility. They want to enjoy the event, but they don't want to help build an event,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. And
Yeah.
it's a lot of like ours started here with like small things where we'd have like individual groups would throw like a bonfire or a small camping trip and stuff like that, and I absolutely loved those. And but nobody here was doing like public, well, besides like our metaphysical conventions, like open circles or like Sabbath rituals and things like that. Everything was very closed, and there's nothing wrong with that, but um, it took a couple years of people asking for them to start, and now we finally have one.
Yeah. I know we wasn't really pushed into it.
No, we jumped both feet
We
into it.
yeah, we kind of jumped both feet into it. But we had the previous organizers
mhm,
who did a summer event in Des Moines. Was actually, it was like Boone
Right.
at Ledges State Park. We had the covenant for a couple of years, and we thought, oh, let's find something where the students can mingle with other people
mhm,
like them. And back then, it was Yahoo groups and everything, which was good because met a lot of people on Yahoo groups, and we went to the event. I think there was like 13 of us at the 16. It was 16 of us at the time,
mhm,
members and Chris and I, and the children. Well, we didn't count them as being members or anything at that time because Amber was really young still. And we get up there, hi, how you doing?
mhm,
Um, they just fell in love with us and thought we had a lot of members in our few years of being a coven. And we asked them that year if we can get hand fasted um, to celebrate our 15th anniversary. So the next year we went back, they hand fasted us, and we had all the kids in, some of the coven members in. Gorgeous ceremony, gorgeous. And when we left well, no, I think it was during the hand fasting. We had a buck and a doe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the buck was like bowing down. It was so awesome, and everybody saw it, and it was like, oh, like this buck is
mhm,
bowing down, and
It
I
was
don't,
cool that day because the
yeah,
sky turned purple.
yeah,
Butterflies and bees were in the air flying around. It,
yeah,
it was really magical. You could feel the energies.
beautiful, perfect day, and maybe the organizers saw something in us. I don't know. But then they asked us, hey, that was beautiful, ritual and stuff, because we wrote it and everything. And then they asked us to come back to do our
mhm,
tradition for midsummer. And with the coven being still new, it's like, I don't know if they're ready for that. But we, on the way home, because it was 3.5 hours, so we traveled from Kilcook to Des Moines. So, yeah,
mhm,
that's a long trip. And the coven's like, yeah, let's do it, you know. And then I thought, okay, but if we do it, we're going to do the midsummer rite together. We're not going to just
mhm,
have us do it. You guys are going to join it. So we did. That's how we got started. After that, it's just people like what they saw, and um, that is asked us to keep doing more, and we did.
They asked us and we jumped in. And we didn't have a realization that from that point on that we would be in the public. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
You don't have that realization
Hmm.
of what you're going into. You know
mhm.
what I'm saying? But it's very magical. Don't get me wrong.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, but
Yep.
it was really
Oh, yeah. Very
weird.
magical, but sometimes you just cannot say no because you want it to happen. And
Mhm,
when you ask if anybody else is going to do it, and everybody's kind of like, nope, 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 you guys will, you guys can.
mhm,
What do you say? Well, you could say no. That's the simple answer. But then
mhm.
again, you won't have that community to network, make
Yep.
friends,
Mhm,
learn, because there's so much to learn at events. So we just kept doing it until 21. I think when well, no, it was,
COVID,
yeah, it
beginning of
was,
COVID
yeah,
was the end
20,
of it.
yeah, 2020. I think we stopped, and because of the virus and everything.
mhm,
And then we moved back since my stepfather passed. And after that, it was like, wow, haven't done anything for a long time. It was actually nice to
mhm,
kind of like have that free time of continue your studies, to write your
Yep.
book, to, you know,
Mhm.
and it was like work on yourself, work on your family, you know. So yeah, it was kind of nice. So, but to the audience, you know, going to the events can be good. It could be bad. I mean, you can have bad events. You
They
can,
can be toxic, but it
yeah.
really depends on the event, who comes. Do you have to set up like clear boundaries? Like it's open circle. There's no drama. Like nobody's right or wrong. Like no illicit substance use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think. Let me see. I think we have had probably, or we had our good events. Don't get me wrong. Every one of them turned out okay. We did have issues though at
Mm,
several events. We had one issue where we did the main ritual and everything, and then another person, an individual, decided she wanted to do the full moon and stuff. And it was like, yeah, sure, you know. Um, so she did it, and it was our members was just like whispering and everything, because the reason of those whispering was because she was actually drinking. I
Can of
mean,
beer in her hand,
can of beer in a hand, cigarette in the other hand,
staggering.
staggering. The one of the attendees was in a kilt, and when he had an itch, he just he didn't care if kids was there or not. He just raised it up and everything. And he was smoking. I think it was a joint, wasn't it? He was smoking a joint or something, but he was just smoking and
Cigarette.
had a can of beer too. It's just, my our members was like, because we always told them, you don't really do that. If it's like something for the ritual, like wine or something,
mm,
grape juice, or, something like that. Um, it's okay to share, but not just to walk around with a can of
That's the night
beer.
that we got in trouble with the
Yeah,
the park ranger
yeah, um,
because the people who were drinking were really loud.
yeah.
mm,
And that's
So
one thing you run into too is loudness. People coming in and not past quiet time, which usually was 10 o'clock.
mm.
Sometimes well, yeah, it was mostly 10 o'clock, and the DNR would come up, and you're like, oh my gosh, So as an organizer, you have to go up there and says, hey, it's cool. We tell everybody to calm down and everything. It kind of makes you feel like a babysitter in a way.
Mm.
Keep your children at bay. Um, second, second time we had, which happened in Colorado. Oh no, it was here. No, it was here. It was here. It was probably I don't know, 2012, 2013, in Pagan Pride, where somebody was very how can I say it? Rude. I'll say it, let's put rude. He was rude to everybody before the event. But I mean, we had how you do a Facebook group, like
Mm.
Pagan Pride, so people will volunteers will be on there, or you just tell people would just join to know what's going on, the
Yep.
workshops for sinners, and he was angry for something, and um, he we did not really make him angry for anything really, but he took it out on me and wanted to shoot me at the event. And I have death threats from my text messages. And because I was very open, I had an open invitation or open door
yeah, but we met
policy.
that guy like 3 or 4 times before that. And
Yeah.
He seemed,
He seemed
you could
okay.
tell he didn't have both oars in
Well,
the
yeah,
water.
but I mean, he was okay by then. But
Then he just went get Mo on us.
yeah, and so we had a fencing, well, no, a swordsman team that was there. So there was like my bodyguards and everything.
That's when he
Mhm.
threatened us with the
And
motorcycle gang.
yeah, and then so we had
And
a
let's see what
MC.
else.
We know an MC vice president. So they were there too. Nothing happened. The police did not do
He
a
threatened
damn
bombs.
thing.
That's
Yeah,
what the year that Kirk Killian came.
Herculean.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just that was like okay, nothing happened, but I took it with precaution with my kids and everything
Oh yeah,
and all.
it's
So
always good to have security at events, no matter how
mhm.
large
Yeah.
or small, anyways, because you never know. You're gonna get some crazy Christian extremist group come protest, or people be stupid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
We've had that
we had
happen.
we had oh yeah, one time we had Raven Gramasi and Stephanie. This was right before Raven passed away. I think a year before. Um, so somebody just walked in with a sign. Um, I forgot what the sign said, and he just stood there in the middle of the event and stood there. And I remember Chris was getting food for
Yeah.
Raven, I think, or
No, I
yourself,
was getting it for myself.
for yourself. And we had one of these. We had a vendor that was pretty rude, and he was probably to push him around and everything. The
When I went up
Christian
there,
guy, I guess.
when I went up
Mhm.
there, he had that this individual had hands on,
Yeah,
and it was like, oh no 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 no.
yeah.
So
We don't do that.
I kind of pushed my way in between them.
Yeah, because the guy was just standing there. He wasn't provoking or anything. He was
Mhm.
just standing there with a sign. Did not say anything. So, Chris went up there and talked to him and stuff. Even Raven Gramasi went up there and, talked to him and
He was
everything.
lucky that we showed
So,
up because he was getting surrounded and there was nowhere
um,
for him to go.
but
It was horrible.
it's like he had a two-way radio in his pocket and a headphone or a headset, earbuds. That's it, earbuds in his ear, and he was talking to somebody, but he wasn't talking to us. He was just talking to somebody, you know. So what really amazing that happened that really got to got to me was that our vendors came out of their booths. They're surrounding him and just started saying we all come from the goddess and just kept walking around. I mean, they did this, Nick, for like 20 minutes. I mean,
Yeah.
it was
That'd
a
be
long
funny.
time. Yeah, it was a long time, and I didn't know what to do, And I was like,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
they're not hurting the guy. Everybody just went on with their business. Some of the attendees jumped in, started singing and everything, and then after a while, he just left. He just left.
Mhm.
Did call the police, but the police said since it was a public park, even though we did pay for the park and had insurance on the park, he can still be there.
Mhm.
I,
So,
I kind of look at it this way. He did have a right to be there.
yeah, I
And
mean,
pagan
yeah,
pride is about all of our spiritual paths
hmm
coming together. And,
Mhm.
my point of view at that time was, he has a right to be there too. But how can I say it? Telling, having a sign telling everybody that to repent, that we're all going to hell, it kind of upset the status quo,
Yeah, a lot of pagans have religious trauma from the church, and it can be very upsetting.
Yeah.
And
hmm
you kind of go through that fight, flight, freeze response, and people will
Yeah.
react differently. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a little bit of the asshole who, when one of our local metaphysical shops is in the same plaza as a women's health clinic, and you, of course, have the church folks who want to stand across the street with their signs because they have their views on things,
Mm-hmm.
and there's an empty lot right next to the metaphysical shop, which is where we hold our events. And so they're unfortunate enough that we have loudspeakers and they get to listen to our pagan music and, the ritual chants and things like that. And generally on those days, once they see the canopies and stuff going up, they disperse. They don't want to listen to it. Um, but I've also been known to pull up like in the parking lot as close to the edge of the road as possible, and I will crank up like super inappropriate pagan music just to irk them.
Oh my,
Nick,
Nick.
you wouldn't do that,
What?
would ya?
I would do that. I do that. If I have to listen to their awful things, they can listen to mine.
Well, you're right. You're
But
absolutely
you
right.
know, even through all these, I wouldn't call them really bad experiences. I call them learning experiences.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've also had Jehovah Witnesses several times show up and sit maybe like a quarter of a block down away from us with their little thing up.
Hmm.
And I always walk over and talk to them because I know who they are.
Hmm.
And these people, I'll tell you what, they agreed 100% with almost everything that I said, which was really amazing because I was talking to them about God, not goddess.
Hmm.
And when I started talking about, you know, do you guys sin? And they go, no, no, we. And I looked at them and I go, do you drive a car? And they go, yeah. I go, then you sin because the pollutants that's coming out of that vehicle. Then I looked at them. I go, you know, the one thing that God told us to do was to take care of the earth. Have we?
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm.
And they didn't know what to say because I had them cornered. You know, I was like, so in theory, we're all going to hell. Are you doing your part to take care of the earth? The one thing that God commanded us to do, not speaking of Genesis. And they was kind of flabbergasted. And I go, you know, all we are is stewards of nature. We do our best, but it takes
Mm-hmm.
more than just us. It takes everybody to take care
Yeah.
of nature. The one thing that the Creator asked us to do.
Yeah.
And they looked
Mhm.
at me and they go, "Oh, you sound like this one saint. What is his name? The one that baptized Jesus.
John the Baptist.
Yeah, John the Baptist." And they kept on
Yeah.
saying I sounded like him, and I'm like, I'm not John the Baptist. I'm just this guy who cares.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't know what to say. But that was the good thing because they invited me to come to their church to speak, which I never
Mhm.
took them up on because I was afraid that the church would pick up rocks and throw them at me. You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
I kind of, but it's great little jewels like that where you make people realize that, you know, we should obey our gods.
Yeah.
We
Mhm.
should do our best to honor each other in all things.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, that was the learning that I got that day,
Mhm.
just from that conversation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I guess just to sum it up on our side is that we really enjoyed doing the events. It was tiresome. As soon you got done with one event, you give yourself maybe a week or two vacation, and then he was back at it again. We
Mhm.
always had entertainers who always had presenters. So you have to see if they would come. Then you got the traveling time, the money you got to spend for the
Mm.
plane ticket or gas if they want to drive, and the
Food,
hotel,
had to
the
have
food, and everything. Because
food, drink.
one thing that Raven and Stephanie told us the last year that was with us, I think it was 2016 or 17, something like that, that they told us that we was one of the best organizers that hosted them, because we didn't just drop them off at the hotel from the airport.
Mhm.
We said, okay, what do you want to do? Sightsee, go out for dinner, blah blah blah. We
Mhm.
always took them out for dinner, made sure they had breakfast. If they didn't have breakfast in the hotel, we took them out for breakfast. Lunch, you know, you want to just go back and relax, or what do you want to do?
Mm.
Sightseeing, whichever.
We took Raven to Red Rocks
Yeah,
where they had all the
concerts.
big concerts and all that.
Uh,
Then we took them to a John Denver's memorial, which they really liked that. Then we took them
mm,
to a museum at Red Rocks. It was really cool.
yeah. But then we also went a step further, and they had the workshops. They did workshops at a store. Um, then that was like Thursday. Yeah, Thursday night. And then Friday night, we entertained them. We got the community together at the U Church, and they played for Raven and Stephanie. They did belly dancing.
Mhm.
They had kind of like a potluck, and took in consideration that you know Raven's health and everything. Make sure there was no um, because he was diabetic too and everything. So yeah, we did that, and then the next day, of course, was Pagan Pride, and I
Mhm.
remember Stephanie goes, "No one has never done that for us," and that really kind of makes you feel good if you go to the extra length to do that.
Yep.
We just didn't do it with Raven and Stephanie. We did it with the Amber K. We did it with the Cabots. We did it with Kerr. Kadrick. I mean, we all the guests that we have had, entertainers that we have had, we say, hey, let's take you out and everything. After Pagan Pride, since usually the event is over about 6 o'clock,
Mhm.
we even took them out to eat dinner, and we asked the public, who wants to come with us. Of course, they had to buy their own food if they would like to come out. So, yeah, I mean, not too many did, but we had at least, what, 10, 15 sometimes
Yeah.
that we went out with Mike Nichols. I think we had, oh gosh, about 15 or 20 that came out, and he wanted pizza. So,
Mhm.
pizza place.
Yes. Not once, but
So,
twice, I do
yeah,
believe.
twice. He wanted pizza. He loves pizza. So, but if you go the extra mile to actually over beyond yourself
Mm.
to the not just to the guests but to your uh, presenters, workshop leaders, everything. I know when we have the vendors, Chris
Mm.
and I would walk around. I never sit. Believe me.
Always
Uh,
checking on them,
we always
asking them if they need
Yeah,
something.
we always check on our boobs to say, hey, you guys doing okay? Is anybody bugging you? And everything. And we probably was a nuisance at time because we probably checked every hour or so. But they appreciate it. They always says, hey, I appreciate you coming by and checking up and see if everything is okay.
Damn.
So
You know what's really weird though is meeting new people, these vendors and all that. And it like for me, I'm gray, and I walk up to these young girls. They don't know me from Adam. I start to introduce myself, and they're all like, I don't know, But by the end of the day, they're all relaxed with me, and they're going, buddy,
Hmm.
buddy. It's fun. It really is.
So, but if you do that, that helps you to become a good organizer.
Well, it moves you from being like a host to working your way to being actual friends with your vendors and the presenters and things like that.
Yeah,
Because ultimately, it's also about networking, and like you want these people to come back to your events in the future.
yeah, yeah. Because it's up to them. Because
Hmm.
everybody loves to shop, so it's up to
Oh
them
yeah.
to. So like, oh, I want to go because that person's going to be there that I bought this pinnacle from. I want to go back and get
Hmm.
something else from that vendor, or the workshops. With the workshops, we always try to make. We try not to get too many workshops because we do morning and afternoon.
Mm.
So, because you know how you go to an event, you want to go to like two workshops at the same time, and you're like, oh shit, I can't, you
Watch your
know.
mouth
Yep.
there. That's so.
And so we, I mean, at first when we first started out, we did have a lot of workshops, and then we kind of figured, this is too many, and even ourselves, we want to go to a
Mm.
workshop, and we're busy doing something else at that time. So we came up
Yep.
with having maybe 6 workshops for the whole
Mm.
event, but have it repeat themselves in the afternoon. It was good. It was good. Turned out really good. Um, it's like Chris says, once you get a cookie cutter that makes perfect cookies,
You stick with
you
it.
stick with it.
Hmm.
And you know what the
So,
biggest motto on that is? Keep it simple, stupid.
yeah,
Yep.
Don't be stupid and get too much going at one time.
yeah,
You
Well,
know.
running the event alone is a lot, and then you're trying to attend the workshops you want to go to, making sure things are running smoothly, and like
Yeah.
nightmare.
oh
Well,
yeah,
And it,
usually the smooth thing goes really good. It's getting people. How can I say it? Stimulated, learning. They're
mhm.
walking away with a higher value than what they came in
hmm
Mhm.
spiritually. We never really charged for these events. It was one of those things where you don't need no money. We don't care about your money. It
Mhm.
was coming in and learning something, and for us it was always about the legends,
yeah,
the legends, the
hmm
ones who really got the movement going during the 80s and
yeah,
90s.
Mhm.
And now we got new authors coming through. They're
hmm
stirring the pot,
yeah.
and I'm grateful for that.
Yeah. But I
Oh yeah.
also want to mention that, you know, it's okay to pay for an event. I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes you get an event that has multiples presenters
Oh
and
yeah.
entertainers. We just have one of each. But sometimes some of these events has like up to 10, 10 presenters.
Oh
So
yeah. You get
yeah,
to big events like
yeah,
Salem Fest or like Temple Fest, and they have 40, 50 workshops going, and
yeah,
you pay an entrance fee to come, and then I think some of the workshops are included, and I think some of them are paid, but these are big names, and they're
yeah.
I think Temple Fest had a Tibetan shaman fly in from,
I know.
and like obviously like that's expensive.
Yeah,
Like he flew from Naples to come
yeah.
present.
Wow,
Oh
it's a long
yeah.
journey.
It is. I mean, if you have to pay for an event, don't be like, oh, I gotta pay for an event. I don't want to go. No, go, save up money and go
If you
to an
can't, yeah,
event
a lot of the times they're
because
worth it.
yeah,
And
it is worth it.
I'm thankful that we're in the post-COVID era. COVID influenced a lot of events to um, put on digital events or like record events, and you can, if you can't necessarily afford like a digital event outright, a lot of them will sell the recordings for the workshops
Mhm.
and things at a discount after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
they do
maybe
that.
you can afford that. And
Yeah.
there's so many avenues, and that was a huge help for people that are like chronically ill in the like disabled community, or people that have travel issues where it's like I
Mhm.
can't make it out to a physical event, but I
Yeah,
can go attend a like digital workshop.
yeah, yeah. And that's really that was really great. Actually,
Mm,
I know there's a lot of online events that
mm,
is happening all the time now, and it's great because if you can't afford to go because of small kids or you got too many
mhm,
pets to take care of or whatever, your car may not make it or something like that, it's nice to have the option to go online and pay for
yep.
it. It's
Mhm,
really great. Um, you know, but it's really hard on anybody who does organization. It's very hard, even with fundraiser. We try to do
mm,
fundraisers because we have the richest ball. We had the fair. Well, we see. We had the richest ball, the fairy ball. Um, we had like a divination night, kind of like a
mhm,
mini psychic fair. We had a lot of stuff going on for a fundraiser. But the thing is, you keep asking the same area to
mm,
come, and you are actually wiping them out in a way because some would get $5 or $10, some would get more,
mhm,
but it costs a lot. They always cost. I know we pay probably just about 2 to 3 thousand out of our own pockets,
mm,
but we did it because we wanted to, because we wanted to bring something to everyone. And it was like the goddess and God was telling us, bring my children to me, you know,
mhm.
and let them learn. So that's what we did. I mean, it was tough at times, but we actually didn't mind doing it. If we did, we would have stopped a long time ago. So, but that was a section on community. How about
Mhm,
covens? Now, I know you have a coven, we have a coven.
mhm,
Coven's been around for over 30 years. Um, with branches of different branches of the priestesses that open up their own coven underneath
mm.
ours and everything. Um, so having a coven life versus solitary, how do you feel about that?
I like both, honestly. Like, I enjoy my solitary practice, but I also enjoy getting together and doing the ritual work and having the community to lean back on. And I will say that, like, at least my coven's not like exclusively teaching coven. Like, we have some newer people that need more like foundations work, but most of my coven particularly is people that have been practicing for a while, so I don't necessarily do as much teaching work as your guys' coven has done. um, but there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, everybody's at different stages in practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, as you know, back in the late 90s, we didn't want a coven. I think we got our degree, and I remember a high priestess was telling us, um, you guys been on this trip before,
Mm,
so welcome back to the path. But the goddess has something in store for you too. And Chris and I both looked at each other like, oh gosh, like what,
mhm,
And she goes, oh, you'll see. And probably 6 months, if that.
It wasn't even that. We
Well,
know
probably
more.
wasn't even
We
that.
know more landed back in Iowa, and it was like 3 or 4 days later we had people knocking on the door. wanting to learn witchcraft.
Well,
And that's really weird. But what was even greater, the magical, was that we had a whole bunch of crows and ravens. Just
Mm,
would walk out the door, and I mean, it wasn't just 3 or 4 just flighting around in the yard. I mean, they covered the house. They would follow us from the back door to the front door. We'd go out. They'd be yelling at us. There was messages. We just didn't
yeah,
understand it at that time.
it kind of reminds you of as a scary movie. You walk outside, you
mm,
see all these crows and stuff, and you kind of like, okay, is this like Hitchcock movie? Should I be
mhm,
should I be afraid? Should I hide from these birds? Um, but no, I remember one time the probably the one of the first students. I went to work. Somebody came up to me and asked me if I was a witch, and I said yes, I am, because I'd never been in the broom closet. You know that. I just came out,
mm.
love me
And
or leave me. I don't care. So
so, can I ask you a question?
what?
Do you ever go back in the broom closet?
Oh no, I never been in the broom closet. Only just to get my magical stuff. But um, my coworker asked me, and I told her, and then she goes, "Well, my daughter wants to learn," and I go, "Well, I kids are, no." And
Yeah.
she goes, "Well, how about I want to learn too? Can we learn together?" And I'm like, "Well, I really never taught anything except for my when I was taught, I helped,
Mm,
teach then and everything because that's part of one of the requirements." And I go, I kind of like the solitary with my kids and my husband.
mm,
And she goes, "Oh, please, she really wants to learn and everything." And I'm like, okay. So they came over, we talked to them. Her daughter was 14, 15, no, 15, I think, was it? But 15 at the time. And
mm.
she knew a lot. I was really impressed. She knew a lot. And even the mother did too. So we like, okay, we'll give it a chance. And then the mother had a friend. A friend had two sisters. And then our friends, so some of our friends was like, oh, we want to learn too. And then we had two of our friends that was already been in it for a long time who want to
Mm.
come up to us and learn and
It was like a
participate.
domino
Yeah,
effect.
it
Mhm.
just happened. And then one day, one of the members was, or one of the students was saying, well, we have a coven because we had, at that time, we had like 13. Yeah. And we kind of like, yeah, I guess you could say we do. Well, we
Mm.
should have a name. And it's like, okay, so are we really doing this?
Yeah.
So we just took where everybody kind of meditated and came up with some names. And, you have the younger 20 something people, I would say, um, that plays D&D. So they come up with, the Legions of Doom. It was like, what?
No.
It's like, no, 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 no. But when I went into a meditation, I heard
Mm,
a woman's voice saying, "You are very blessed. You have blessed me with these children that you are teaching. You are blessed by me, the lady." And I just came out and says, "How about coming to bless the lady?" And everybody just like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So that's how it was created.
I thought it sounded like a nunnery myself, but hey,
See, that's what I kind of like about it is because you can be like, yeah, like I go to the Coven of the Blessed Lady, and they're sitting there like, oh, it's like Saint Mary's Church, and it's like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, I guess maybe that's the reason why she named it because I guess she figured it was kind of like an umbrella type,
Mm,
to protect us.
so I got a question to ask you guys. Please answer
yep.
one at a time. Okay.
Hmm.
What do you like about covens? What do you like about covens?
Nick, I'll let you go first.
I think a mixture of the like small community and the social aspects. My coven is made up of friends and family, and it's also kind of an excuse just to get everybody together for a bonfire and have a good time.
Yeah,
But um and we do magic too. And the learning and like furthering each other's paths are probably my favorite aspects. Because books will take you so far, and then you're led by spirit and other people's brains. And
Mhm.
one of my absolute favorite things to do is pick other people's brains on witchy things. And um, ultimately, like that, and the just being able to provide a space for people to be who they are authentically, I think, is kind of my favorite aspects of a coven.
Yeah.
Because like you get to kind of nerd out.
yeah, yeah,
I think with me, I mean, it's the same way, because you have your own little family, like spiritual family, that
Mm,
you can not just be a teacher to, and they're your students. You have a relationship with them, a
mhm,
friendship. They're your best friends. They're your brother and sisters. We
yeah.
always did everything together. You know,
Mm,
um, and it wasn't all about learning. I mean, we hang out. We go out to the bars or something. We go dancing, and that was nice. Um, it's no. It's I think it's motivation too,
mhm,
because it's like, okay, I have a coven. They'd be over here. They depending on me to do a lesson or to do a ritual, something,
mm.
So you make sure, but work harder, not just
Yeah, you
for
have the
them,
accountability behind it.
but for yourself, because they're depending on you.
Mhm,
And then for me, I look at my goddesses statues and I'm like, okay, yes, I know, lady, I know, I got to get on this. I know, don't procrastinate,
mm,
So I think it's a motivation to learn more, because
mm.
it's not just your path, it's other paths too that you have to
Oh yeah.
learn about as
Mm,
well. And I like that.
mm,
How about you?
I think it was rituals. That's what draws me to covens. You know, I love to participate, but I also love to lead. So
mhm,
and
Mm-hmm.
I love watching other people do rituals because for me that's my way of picking their brain, but also give me a chance to participate in a more relaxed way
mhm,
versus always having to lead. I love doing rituals.
mhm,
That's one of my where I'm really comfortable. I love working within the coven structure doing rituals, and I love feeling
Mm-hmm.
that magic.
mhm,
I love watching the twinkle of a neophyte's eye the first time that they're actually drawn down the full moon.
Mm-hmm.
mhm,
When they're actually feeling that magic, that flux between
Yeah.
this
mhm,
world and the next. I love
Yeah.
feeling that. So I know that they're enjoying it as well. But I
mhm.
also like listening to people after the ritual and listening to what they heard, what they felt, what they saw.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a learning place for all of us within a coven step.
Yeah.
But I
Mhm,
also like my solitary life
mhm,
because
Mm-hmm.
that's where I excel. Like for right now, I'm out and away from the coven stead. I'm not really like I was out in Colorado or, in the past in Iowa. This is my time to take everything that I've learned all throughout the years and meditate about it. Sit down and
Mm-hmm.
actually, you know, go into a nice trance and listen
mhm.
and think about this is what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
and it's been that way for me for years. Doing that exact method, but more so now because I'm getting older. I want to really feel that transcendence. I want to excel magically. So
Mhm.
for me,
Mhm.
solitary life is great, but I do miss the coven life.
Mm.
For me, I love it when we go to visit the Covenstead. Um, not because we are elders of the branches and everything. It's just that I like to be with my brothers and sisters. I like to
Mhm.
celebrate with them. Um, Solitary life with your family. I mean, we still have family. We still worship and everything, but it's just it's family. It's a little bit different. Um, I mean, it's really similar, but it's very different too with your family
Mhm.
because you kind of more lenient on your family than you are on your coven students and everything. Um, being in the country. Oh yeah, it's nice, peaceful and quiet, but I really miss because everything's like an hour away. So I really
Mhm.
miss like the UU churches. I miss teaching, you know, be a part of something. But the Covenstead, they're mostly 2 hours away. So,
Mhm.
you know, and that's with all branches that we have. It's all the branches we have is 2 hours away. Go figure.
Mhm.
So, except for yours, yours is like,
5, 6.
yeah. So,
Yeah,
um, I think that's one of the thing that I get really down about because
Mhm.
it's like you can take the high priestess out of her element, you know, but she's
she's
always trying to
she
fight back to
she
get into
thinks that
it.
she's lost, but there's one glorious thing that a lot of us don't even. I'm going to presume that a lot of people don't realize is that us three talking about goddess,
Mhm.
that is a
Hmm.
covenant.
Yeah,
That is a
Mhm.
covenant between each other. When we
yeah.
are talking to all these authors and stuff, we are participating in a covenant
Hmm.
because
Mhm.
it is a form of worship,
Yeah,
of
Yeah.
enlightenment,
yeah.
and people should take glee that you know there is a place like YouTube and all these other
Hmm.
platforms where
Mhm.
you can actually get in and talk with people
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
ask questions, because it might be my opinion is going to be different than yours on many of the subjects,
Hmm.
you know. And that is a learning curve for both of us
Yeah.
because I
Mhm.
can sit there and state my views and what I've experienced, and you can state your views and
Mhm.
what you've learned, and we're teaching each other. You know,
Mhm. Want
that's
Hmm.
why a
everybody's
lot
got.
of times, to me, a coven is great, but sometimes we need to look at the bigger picture of our covenant with each other through via YouTube or
Yeah.
you know Facebook or these other Twitch or whatever.
Mhm.
We have this big ass platform where we could talk to each other and we could see
Mhm.
each other's views. And when we experience that, that is transcendence,
Hmm.
Mhm.
you know. Or we may state something, we may not be correct to a point, but it will give a person a chance to stand back and say,
Hmm.
wow, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Where, I see a lot of
Hmm.
covens, they're so damn complicated,
Yeah.
very, very complex.
Yeah. And that's one thing we did not know was because we never been in a coven before. So
Mhm.
it was kind of like thrown at us here, play with it, you know? So
Mhm.
we did have a lot of mistakes early of the coven life. And then, after that, we kind of, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, we know how to take care of this.
Mhm.
Um, and it was hard because I look back and it's like, okay, I'm so sorry for making that mistake. I would actually, I have a thing of that. I have to call somebody or email them or text them or whatever and says, hey, the mistake I did, I'm so sorry. It was
Hmm.
my fault. I took the blame for it, and stuff. Because you have to be the bigger person sometime to actually step up and says, okay, that was my mistake.
Yeah,
You
well,
got to
that's only
admit it.
accountability.
Yeah, you got to admit it. And
Hmm.
I have seen some covens that I don't know, they don't want to admit it. I guess
Hmm.
if you break a rule, but if that rule was already broken by yourself, then
Hmm.
you should be the one that get punished too. So, and we had a lot of people that we had to talk to. It hurt. It's really bad when you are good friends with them. And I have this one person that we was friends and co-workers at the same time. I would not suggest that. That's kind of um, that's kind of hard, especially when they do something that was really out of there that they should not, do. So,
Hmm.
but how about you? I mean, I know you have a coven and everything.
I think a lot of it is. I agree with that. I'm careful about who I let in the coven for that reason, where it's like, okay, like I want to get to know the person and see how they interact with other people, and then gauge like, are they gonna interact with the other people in the group well? And like, there's even kind of like a subdivide within our coven where like our because my in-laws also practice and they're in our coven, but when I go to do family stuff, it's different than like the outer edge of the coven, I guess, like with our friends. Um, they're not necessarily involved in the family aspect. And so there's like different levels of like, okay, who comes to this ritual, who comes to this ritual, and like, would I love for them all to come together? Yes. But like, I don't get to make all of those decisions. While I am a high priest in the coven, I am not the patriarch of the family and the in-laws, and I don't get to make that decision. I'm not leading that at that point. And then otherwise, like, um, I agree. Like, I've had students where I brought them to rituals and they're noticing things change around them and they're just flabbergasted. They're like, I thought it was like the spooky aesthetic and like we were just having a good time. And then the winds pick up and like you can feel the shift and animals are coming in and they're just sitting there like, I didn't think things were gonna happen. It's yeah, yeah, of course. Um, but as far as like the coven dynamics go, absolutely. Um, most of my members are pretty easygoing. Um,
Yeah.
I run like a pseudo eclectic coven, so we all have our own personal practices, and then we'll get together for uh, Sabbats or things, and then we'll pre-structure like, okay, if we're doing a ritual, like who's being venerated for this ritual, and kind of vote on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
That that is for sure. Um, I think that sometimes someone just wants to belong to a coven to
mm-hmm,
help with
mm-hmm,
their studies and everything. But it's a lot of dedication is, and that's why you should screen everybody first to see if
mm-hmm,
this is really what you want. You know, I always told people we're going to give you some information. I want you to keep it in your book of shadows or folders. Don't lose it.
mm-hmm,
Um, and I have to say I'm pretty strict on that because doing a lesson or revising something from a book into a lesson of your own or something,
Mm-hmm.
I have stayed up probably, oh gosh, past midnight till 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes, working on something.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody, plus you gotta, get your house ready, you gotta get the food ready for people to eat and stuff. You gotta buy the wine,
Mm-hmm.
make the bread. So it takes a lot. And when people, when your members leave and they forget their homework or forget their information, the lesson they give, that you give out, and they don't call you like, oh, I forgot my lesson or something, but you keep it for them
Mm-hmm.
because, that's what you probably should do is keep them for them next time. And you give it to them like, oh, yeah. And then they forget it again. Or ask, so
Mm-hmm.
actually forget the other lesson. And that used to get me so mad because it's like, don't you guys know that I stay up hours with me having 4 kids,
Yeah.
handicapped husband, and there's times I had 2 jobs,
I'm such a
and
burden at
oh
night. I'm
no,
such a burden.
oh, and I'm, and he does what he can, I do what I can. So, together we do it together, but we stay up or we take turns
Mm-hmm.
doing it. And then it feels like that I'm getting slapped in the face
Mm-hmm.
because they don't take the lesson or they don't even do the homework. That really kind of gets to me. It's like, you want to know about herbs and crystals. I'm not going to spoon fed it for you. you know, we each have some homework to do to bring back, tell everybody else what you found out, and yeah, that kind of gets me ticked off too. So, and there's some times where I really, I think there's only one time I actually went off on everybody because I was just tired of,
It's about
yeah,
responsibility.
it was responsibility. And I was tired for staying up, doing all these lessons, writing the ritual, paying for this, paying for that, where you ask for a donation, $5 donation, we
Mm-hmm.
would get you, or have somebody get the wine. So, and then they forget the wine. They forget to make the bread, or they got too busy, and and
Mm-hmm.
you just like, okay, I got you. Don't worry about it. So you tend to have a backup system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to make the bread just in case he or she forgot the bread. I'm going to get this wine just in case, or I'm going to get some juice because you never know. So,
Oh, yeah.
um, so
Have a
being,
backup to the backup.
oh yeah, so being an elder of the covens now, I don't have to worry about that because when I go to the coven steads, they do all that, and that's good.
Mm-hmm.
They expect me just to show up. That's it. And they have my lessons. Well, they
Mm-hmm.
should if they're saving the Book of Shadows. If they lose the Book of Shadows because of something, I need to know about it. Besides last minute, so
Yeah.
I can says, here, okay, I gave you copies of it. I understand if
Mm-hmm.
house fire, you moved, or something like that. That's
Mm-hmm.
understandable. You know, um, and then you have a thing about, I want my first, I want it now. I want my second, I want it now. I want my
Mm-hmm.
third, I want it now.
Earn it. Earn it.
And it's just like you have to earn it. And we have come across a few of our students that was very rude to us,
Very demanding.
very demanding. I want this now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to wait. I want it now. And it's like, what have you done? How many times have you showed up? You know, you want to go and play D&D, or you just don't feel like it, you know,
Mm-hmm.
or oh, I'm just gonna stay home watch TV with my kids and stuff. I mean, family is first, but when you work out your schedule like 3 months ahead of time,
Mm-hmm.
you should have it on the calendar, you know,
Yep.
like this day, coven family, you
Hmm.
know. So that
I
kind
think that's why I put a bylaw in for ours that like you have to attend so many rituals a year,
of, hmm
and it was at least you had to attend. It wasn't a high standard. It was like two. It was like
yeah,
you need to come to at least two Sabbats or estimates,
hmm
or like a full moon twice a year, and you can go on a hiatus. Like I understand things happen, whatever,
hmm
but like ideally at least two. Like show up some point.
hmm Well, you was a lot nicer than we were, but everybody was like an hour away from us, so there
Mm,
wasn't really that far away. Probably the most was 90 minutes, um, and they usually we always have those students spend the night with us, and they
yep.
did. They did spend the whole weekend, not just the night, the whole weekend,
Mm,
because to them they get extra um, learning in
mm-hmm.
is what they say, you know.
Yeah, because we'd stay up and
Yeah.
drink whatever wine was left, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever extra
Yeah.
bottles showed up for ritual, just in case. So,
Yeah.
we'd sit there and just
Mm-hmm.
talk
Yeah.
about witchcraft all night long.
So, I mean, we try to make it very convenient for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
you know, where at least half of the Sabbath, half the
Yeah.
East. That's not asking us too much, you
Mm,
know. Um, and we always made it where if we had a Sabbath or even, an East Bat or something, it's like, we would do a lesson that night too, you
mm,
know. So that way they don't have to come back for for the full moon and they come back a week later for the class. We combine it together. So
yeah.
we was very nice about doing that. We always try to do the classes around the moon phases and everything,
Mm,
or the Sabbaths. Um, but I mean, sometimes it was like every 2 weeks, and sometimes it was once a month, and
mm,
sometimes it was probably 3 weeks in between or something. So it's
mm,
and we was all always have an open door policy. So
yep.
email and text messages, phone calls, 24 hours a day. So which I would not suggest that to the public because we even did that to the public and
Mm,
they did call or they did show up at like 2 a.m. or something. But it was all good. It was all
yep.
good.
So, I got a question. Do you guys regret being in a coven?
No.
No,
Mm, no,
I don't either.
I don't. It's just finding that coven, and that
Mm,
would be a next section before we end the stream is that how to find a teacher or a coven.
mm,
And, you know, I myself cannot really talk on this subject really good because we, we, how can I say, since we didn't really want a coven, we just kind of got the coven. But with our teacher,
Our teacher
we
pre-
just,
wasn't even asking for one, just
yeah,
one presented it. So,
it was, it,
you
she
know,
just popped up. So,
mm,
and and she was a medium, well, she is a medium and she just knew what we wanted. And it's like, yes. And then we became really good friends. I mean, we are friends until this day. So you have like 40 year plus relationship there that
mm,
is awesome, you know?
yep.
And so how would you ask for me to ask you because you probably been in the situation more than I have. How well, what she said, what would you say to others on how to find a coven?
I would say that I'm glad we're in the digital age. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of uh, Discord covens and like witchcraft learning groups. Join a mystery school. that you get all of the benefits of the community and doing estimates and things like that without having a strict hierarchy. So if you want to get immersed in a pagan community without having somebody like directly telling you what to do, those are fantastic. So like Penzak's tradition, Kiwaria, um, there's so many mystery schools, the Red Thread Academy. Um, all of those are fantastic. Um, Magica Mangoria, which is a website that kind of hosts, you can go in and if you have a coven, uh, you can search by location so you can see if there's covens already established in your state that are public. Um, call or visit a local metaphysical shop. Like, get acquainted with your local spiritual shops. Um, because a lot of the times we put flyers up in shops like that, or, they may put on an event themselves. We have one here that does the Full Moon Witches Market, which is a vendor's thing. There's a women's monthly moon circle. We have uh, local conventions, and you may have to drive for some of these depending on if you live in a small town or you live in the city. Um, but there's ways to find in person. There's ways to find online. Uh, I think my first teachers were in person from visiting the metaphysical shop. I became a regular there, and then people started introducing me to other people, and that's where I met Miss Judy, who was a energy worker and a shaman, and my Reiki master met her through the same place. They were friends. Uh, that's where I learned root work. Is one of the ladies at the shop started putting on workshops, and she did root work, and I started learning under her. Uh, and then as we've kind of gone into the digital age, I later joined a couple mystery schools and like further study there. Uh, and not all mystery schools are expensive. Like there is free education out there. There's some mystery schools that don't charge you anything. Some of them are like maybe $60 to $100 in materials. Some of them are several $1,000s in materials.
Hmm.
It just kind of depends on what can you afford, what are you interested in, and how much do you want to put into it. Um, and then, I mean, we're on the beautiful age of the internet. You can learn so much through YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
There's thousands of fantastic witches and creators on here. Um, I would say TikTok, but I will say take TikTok with a grain of salt. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of pettiness on there. There are some really good practitioners. I will not lie, but there's also a lot of really egotistical people that want to be the baddest witch on the block, and you have to kind of take that with a grain of salt. Um, and get familiar with the bite model. I don't think I can stress that one enough. So, for those that don't know, the bite model is what is a cult and how is a cult formed. Which, yes, we still have cults. There's still uh, groups in a lot of religions that run cults. And you need to be aware of the warning signs and what those look like so that you can identify if a group that you're interested is a cult and is that a problem.
Yeah.
Is there I've seen a couple. I've run into a couple
Oh, yeah.
lately.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you've probably been called one too, because I remember people
Mhm.
used to call us, "Oh, you're in a cult."
or call us a cult leader.
Yeah.
And I believe this with people as individuals, especially students.
Mhm.
Freely we come and freely we go. But if we
Mhm.
must go, let's go with peace and love.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
know, and I believe in that. You know,
Yeah.
if our coven isn't your what you want, we don't go sky clad enough, or this and that.
Yeah.
You know, we don't do this, we don't do that. You know,
Mhm.
you're always welcome to go if we're not your fit, and that's
Yeah.
the way it should be. But it
Mhm.
shouldn't be with hostility.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we was always a family coven because we had 4 kids, and
Mhm.
they were all young. Um, Amy or Amber was, Amy and Amber was babies. So we couldn't do skyclad like some people wanted to, because that's the way to do it. And it's like, no, we're a family coven. We got to protect our children too, you know.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
we didn't want to expose our kids to that,
Mhm.
not until they get of age. Not saying that we haven't done it. We done it in other coven steads without our children and
Mhm.
everything. But you know, that's one reason why everybody kind of liked our coven too, because we was family based
Mhm.
because of the 4 kids and everything. And we allow the kids to come in,
Yeah.
if they're under 13 and step outside the circle, that's okay. The gods are laughing at that little boy or something.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, he's a holy terror.
Oh
I feel
yeah.
sorry for the parents or something.
Our public rituals were so unserious with
Yeah,
like circle bounds and be like, no, like we're just gonna leave the circle like as an open filter because there's toddlers running around here and
yeah.
so help us if I have to open that door every 3 seconds.
Yes, that's for sure. I mean, and even with pregnant women, we or even those who needed a chair, we was
Yep.
always
Mhm.
open. Come with a chair, sit down. We even had some people would just sit on the grass, brought a blanket in it, sat on the
Mhm.
grass, and
We
they
did
would
both.
get up when they
Yep.
have to get up to dance or something,
Mhm.
but they would sit down. You know, um, and I know this one group that we went to just to visit, and we was ridiculed because we brought our kids along and
Oh,
everything.
that was
They
Gardenians.
they didn't want no kids. Um, we had a crone with us, and she couldn't stand too long. She had to sit. No chairs. She has to sit outside the circle, and I'm just like, what? We came 2 hours to visit you guys, and you were telling us this. And it wasn't our cup of tea. And I know it was their tradition, which we respected, but
Mhm.
they could at least told us
Can't
beforehand.
put that in the invite.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, you should.
ours, like chairs. There's paved sidewalk up to the side. Like there's chairs.
Yeah, yeah, and
Bring a chair if we have a limited number of chairs. Bring one if you need one in case.
yep,
There's beverages. Whatever. Like it's a ours is like a potluck style. So we have a lady who brings like all the mains and stuff, and then
hmm
you're welcome to bring a dish. We appreciate if they're labeled at least,
oh
so
yeah,
that people know. Like if somebody's got allergies, they know what may be in something. Um, but absolutely, like that's so weird because like our we have the chairs set up around the circle, and then we do like stadium style past that. So it's like
hmm
any of the elders that need chairs are like closest to the circle, and then those that can stand do want to stand uh, are set up behind them,
hmm
and then yeah, uh,
yeah.
that's
And
so weird.
I mean, we also checked on the tradition, because that's very important. If you're going to
Mhm.
go to a group, you want to check on the tradition because that tradition may not be what you want,
Yeah.
or they may have different bylaws too. But
Mhm.
this was just a Celtic or eclectic, what do you call
Eclectic.
eclectic, excuse me, eclectic, and You think for being eclectic that they wouldn't care about the chairs or anything, but yeah,
No, that was the Gardenians.
it was very, you know, kind of okay. So
It's their
we
way.
didn't go back. We didn't go back,
Mm,
but we told them thank you anyway. It just wasn't for us to come and visit.
yeah.
Just something that you have to
You know,
respect.
yeah. You
Mhm.
just have to respect and do your handshake, your hugs, and say you had a nice time and just go on. You should
Mhm.
never belittle anybody's beliefs or
Yeah.
their way because that's their way. You gotta respect
Mhm.
that. But yeah, I think that's the only thing. Do you have anything else you want to say on covens or anything?
No,
No,
no, I'm sure I'll come up with something after we get through, but
probably so.
that's the way it is. You get that
So,
2 or 3. Oh yeah, hey, but
well, we might do this again for the audience. Never know what's going to come up with us. We just kind of dig
Mhm.
into the cauldron and like, oh, let's do this. So
Yeah.
some things may not work out, some things does. So, but I don't have anything else to say. Do you, Nick?
No, not really.
Well, I guess we can close it and blessings to everybody that is tuning in. Um, like, share, and subscribe. Um, we been the next podcast you will see us and will be this Friday when we talk to a paranormal team from Louisiana. But make sure you also tune in on the 14th at
Mhm.
8 p.m. Central Time because we are having a anniversary because we made it to a year and we're still
Mhm.
alive. so so that's 8 o'clock p.m. Sunday. We like for everybody who has ever watched our podcast to pop in. We might even bring you up on stage with us. You never know.
Mhm.
So with those kind of crazy family witches. so so but anyway, blessings everybody.
Blessings.
Night.
bye.